Greetings, everyone. Let's see if I can. I guess not. Greetings, everyone. I know it's early, but I have a lot to do. I have a saxophone workshop to go to soon, and then I have to come back and get ready for our meeting tonight at 8. I think I got it scheduled for 8 o'clock or 8:30. I don't even remember, but yeah, our meeting tonight, those of you who emailed me, I emailed you the Zoom link for the meeting tonight. I wanted to go ahead now because I have to leave by 5 for my workshop and my lesson, my saxophone lesson. So I'm going to read now, 30 minutes, no diversions, no digressions like yesterday. And what I will do is I will go ahead and read what I read yesterday before I started. Hey, all right. Hey, y'all. Whimsical Moon Theory, Kamara Stepping Razor. Come on, y'all. All right. So again, for those of you who are tuning in, for those of you who don't know what the hell I'm talking about, back for the greetings, Asia, for the reading of Pure Lust, Elemental Feminist Philosophy by Mary Daly. Pure Lust, Elemental Feminist Philosophy by Mary Daly. For those of you who have the book, we're on page 260, which is chapter 7, entitled Breaking Out Volcanic Virtues. Pyromachy, obsolete, fighting with fire. Oxford English Dictionary. Pyromachy, fighting with fire and desire. Webster's first new intergalactic Wikidictionary of the English language. Propelled by pyromantic passion into the vortices of pyrospheres, prudes encounter apparent paradoxes inherent in elemental powers. These are not the problems of political institutional power of which the phallic ethicists drone, but rather the challenges experienced by women who find ourselves quickened by new and ancient awareness of elemental rhythms, of harmonious connectedness in the concert of being. When a woman touches and tastes this harmony, the world becomes charged for her in amazing ways. Wits are sharpened, senses unmuddied. The sense of synchronicity is activated, recharged. Realizing this rhythmic consequence, she experiences heightened hopes. Conversely, she tastes temptations to despair. Damn. For realizing harmony with the elemental world implies recognizing ever more accurately the disharmony of the Father's fabricated world. It also involves experiencing the presence, in the sense of presence of absence, of these fabrications in the fibers of our own substance. These embedded physical and psychic pollutants inhibit knowing and spinning. Olive Schreiner was expressing an acute awareness of this conflict many decades ago when she wrote, quote, "We are a race of women that of old knew no fear and feared no death, and lived great lives and hoped great hopes. And if today some of us have fallen on evil and degenerate times, there moves in us yet the throb of the old blood." End quote. The more distinctly a woman remembers the tidal rhythms of the forgotten race of women, and the more surely she senses the throb of the old blood, the more certainly she is forced to face the unnatural programmed reflexes that she has inherited as a woman in patriarchy. The struggle to shed these horrid habits is urgently experienced by pyronostic nags. As we progress in power, these embeds become more obvious and more obviously alienating. Thus, the pyromantic journey takes on the appearance of being both progress and regression at the same time. God damn it. No longer completely blind to the mechanisms that made us prisoners of the master's mazes, women enlightened by the fire of our own passion feel discomfort and horror even as we glimpse with ecstatic vision. Damn. To put it another way, The draining of our life force becomes intolerably perceptible as women feel the rhythms of the old bloods throb. There is then an illusion of movement in seemingly opposite directions, consequent upon heightening of awareness of good and evil. But the recognition of the embedded powers is not an illusion. It is essential to the exorcism that accompanies the ecstasy of the pyrospheres. The exorcism itself of the phallic presences of absence within women's psyches is accomplished largely by the acquiring of new operative habits or virtues. Webster's weaving our way into the pyrospheres unweave old behavior patterns and create new ones. This creation does not happen through wishful thinking, but through arduous practice, through repeated acts. Oh my God. Women who have already experienced the development of some skills know that natural talent is not enough. Musicians, writers, artists, and artisans of all kinds, athletes, mathematicians, philosophers know the necessity of arduous practice. This, in traditional ethical terms, is the acquiring of habits through repeated acts. It is problematic and even distasteful to many furious women to call good operative habits virtues. The word virtue itself, encased in coffins of patriarchal moral ideology, seems to have a putrid odor about it. That odor, to be specific, is an aroma of hypocrisy. Come on in, Mary. Damn. Oh shit. She said, look, the reason we are opposed to the word virtues is because that shit has a stinking ass odor of hypocrisy. That's what she said in layman's terms. She said it is problematic and even distasteful to many furious women to call good operative habits virtues. The word virtue itself, encased in coffins of patriarchal moral ideology, seems to have a putrid odor about it. That odor, to be specific, is an aroma of hypocrisy. Indeed, the word virtue, when viragos first struggle to exhume it from the graveyards of phallic ethics, reeks of reversals. The traditional virtues, as defined and used by the masters of morality, constitute a veritable arsenal of weapons commonly employed in the perpetual war against the race of racy women. Listen, Mary going the fuck off today. She going in. Yes, Asia. Yes. Greetings, goddesses. Yes. Ruminating upon the reversals wrought through the use of the ideology of virtues, viragos can recall Valerie Solanas' soothsaying when she points out that the patriarchal male attempts to become female. Greetings, goddess and beautiful souls. Okay, Lotus Flower, how you doing, sister friend? Okay, so let me just stop here for a second. I said I wasn't going to digress, but let me tell you what had happened. What had happened was Mary Daly actually referenced Valerie Solanas previously or earlier in the book. And instead of going back and trying to search for where she referenced it, here it is again. So I'm gonna say something about it. After she referenced, and these people with my feeds, my lives are pissing me off. Man. Damn. I might have to start my live on IG over because it's frozen, like frozen stiff. Hold on. These motherfuckers. What in the hell? Okay. All right. So what I was saying about Valerie Solanas. So I didn't know who she was. I just thought it was just some regular person that Mary was referencing. Come to find out, for those of you who don't know, like I didn't, who she is, this was the woman who actually shot Andy Warhol. Um, and apparently, like I read a little bit about her after. So what happened was after I read her reference in the book, somebody inboxed me or responded on one of the videos about how she didn't understand why Mary Daly referenced to this woman. But to put it in the proper perspective, this book was written in 1983. So this thing that happened with Valerie Solanas was still pretty fresh. It was still pretty fresh. She was a hardcore feminist, apparently. And she became a hardcore feminist, apparently, partially at least, in response to the fact that her whole life was wrought with sexual abuse and trauma. She was the victim of sexual abuse by several males in her family, and so on and so forth. And anyway, she had gotten into some kind of arrangement with Andy Warhol, and he attempted to cheat her out of her works or whatever. She created this whole organization. I ain't going too deep into the details, but she created this whole organization. And she wrote a manifesto that you can read online. I forget what it was called, but she wrote a manifesto that was, like a feminist manifesto or whatever. After she shot Andy Warhol in the gut, she shot his ass in the belly. So anyway, that's who she is. And I made a note that if she mentioned her again in the book, I was going to let you know who she was, because somebody pointed her out to me. So that's her. Anyway, it says, as Valerie Solanas, Valerie Solanas' soothsaying, when she points out that the patriarchal male attempts to become female, quote, by claiming as his own all female characteristics, emotional strength and independence, forcefulness, dynamism, decisiveness, coolness, objectivity, assertiveness, courage, integrity, vitality, intensity, depth of character, grooviness, etc., and projecting onto women all of the male traits. She said, and projecting onto women all the male traits: vanity, frivolity, triviality, weakness, etc. Oh, shots fucking fired. God. Woo. End quote. Oh my God. That's right, baby. Here she go. Damn, so much for the virility of the alleged virtues. The problem with the word virtue is not simply that it has been applied wrongly. The message of virility appears to be embedded in the word itself, which is said to be derived from the word vir, meaning man. Racy women understand that the virtues of our race, a race of women that of old knew no fear and feared no death and lived great lives and hoped great hopes, have nothing manly or virile about them, and will proceed to exercise the thought-strangling maze of reversals implied in such associations. With Solanas, we will recognize that men have appropriated to themselves the names of strong qualities which they call virtues. Virgins, that is, women are never captured. Women are never captured, unsubdued. So that's what virgins mean. A virgin means women that are never captured or unsubdued. Are proceeding to name our own good, that is, life-affirming qualities and operative habits. When we choose to call these virtues, we hear this old word in a new way, and it thus becomes a new word. It is used to describe qualities of uncaptured and unsubdued women, that is, virgins. Whoo! What? Oh my God. Mm. Knowing that virgin is thought to be derived from the Latin virga, meaning green branch, we claim the name virtue also as a green branch, a new name on the tree of words. Virtue, used by virgins to name our strengths, is a virgin word. Our virtues are the virgin virtues. As viragos, women, come on through, Mary. God damn it. As viragos, women vigorously claim virgin virtues as our own. Viragos, as women of great stature, strength, and courage, joyfully expunge from the definition of this name the idea that a virago is one possessing supposedly masculine qualities of body and mind. For we have never supposed that our virgin virtues of body and mind are masculine qualities. Come, 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 come. Oh my God. Oh my God. Viragos, virgins, join in making a dramatic semantic break away from the old virile definitions of virtues, which we have experienced as viruses infecting our minds with disease. Breaking away from such virile infections of the soul, Nags note with interest that from the paternal point of view, our virgin virtues are vices. Indeed, such misnaming is among their deadliest devices. Listen, y'all, listen. She said misnaming. Misnaming. Misnaming is among their deadliest devices. What did we just spend all fucking weekend talking about? The importance of naming and renaming everything. Because misnaming, like a virus in our consciousness, creating disease, is among their deadliest devices. Attempting to device us, they define and apply to our conduct. They define and apply to our conduct the term damn. Sorry about that. They define and apply to our conduct the term vice as meaning moral depravity or corruption, wickedness. According to Sato's standards, Wiccan women, that is, all witches are wicked. We can virtuously affirm depravity and corruption. The word depravity is from the Latin pravis, meaning crooked, and corruption is from com plus rumpiere, meaning to break. Oh. Okay, facts don't care about your feelings. I was wondering where you been, woman. All right. Okay, y'all, listen. She said, since according to Sato's standards, Wiccan women, that is, all witches, are wicked, and we can virtuously affirm depravity and corruption. She said, I'll take that. I'll take that I'm corrupt and depraved, because depravity is from the Latin pravis or pravis, meaning crooked, and corruption is from the words com and rumpiere or rumpiere, meaning to break. Racy women are indeed crooked by the false standards of boring morality, and together we do indeed break out of the straitjackets, racing free. Woo! Listen, woo! It is fascinating for Furies. Man, it is fascinating for Furies to consider another meaning of the word vice, which is a winding or spiral staircase. This is derived from the Latin vitus or vitus, vine, with reference to the spiral growth of the tendrils. Vice then can name the characteristic of spiral pattern of biophilic movement or growth. Heard in this sense, it can name the good operative habits, the green branches, which are the virgin virtues. Thus, understood, vice is a new word. it calls to mind the fact that virtues and vices, the virtuous vices of virgins, are like spiral staircases, making possible movement out of the foreground flatland into other dimensions. Ooh, our spiraling movement, overcoming the dronish dichotomies of viral virtues and vices, now leads us to the consideration of specific virgin virtues. Come on in. Prudence. In classical ethics, prudence is an intellectual virtue defined as right reason about things to be done. It is practical wisdom, as we have seen in the foreground to this realm. This virtue is believed to enable the prudent person, the possessor of this habit, to find the mean in moral virtues. For example, it supposedly makes possible the performance of genuinely courageous acts, which avoid the extremes of cowardice on the one hand and rashness on the other. Since pyromantic prudence, unlike the virile virtue of prudence, reflects both the experience and the movement of prudes, which are extreme. The prudence of prudes inspires choices which are extreme. Oh, holy fuck. This does not mean that a prude will not seek right reason about matters of moral virtue. It does mean that her standards for judging and measuring the mean between extremes, such as cowardice and rashness, are different from the standards of phallic morality. Come on in. Her standards are pyrometric, for pyrosophical wisdom is passionate and extreme. This extremity of the prudence of prudes, our practical pyrosophy, is associated with the fact that pyromantic prudence is ineffably more questioning than is the prudence traditionally defined in patriarchal theology and philosophy. The limitations of phallic prudence are illustrated in the analysis of this virtue by Aquinas, who wrote that the ends of moral virtue must of necessity pre-exist in the reason. Discussing this position, he wrote that it does not belong to prudence to appoint the end to the moral virtues, but only to regulate the means. For this type of thinker, then, prudence is only about the means to the certain ends which pre-exist in the reason. Prudence simply enables the prudent person to draw the right conclusions about how to act. It does not question why. For example, it is not the function of virile prudence to ask such a question as, why be courageous? Nor does it question what courage is. The prudence of prudes moved into virgin territory. It does not presuppose that the answers to the questions why and what are known. Come on in, Mary. God damn it. Virgin prudence is concerned not only with determining the means to pre-existing ends, assessing how to achieve these, but also with questioning the ends themselves, the purposes. And a prude asks her own wild whys, in the light of which she can consider radically other ways and means. Questioning the basic presuppositions of patriarchy itself, she is empowered by pyrogenetic passion to question precisely the taken for granted ends and purposes that have been embedded in women's psyches from earliest childhood. Woo! Y'all are bugging. Y'all are bugging. See, now those of you tuning in from IG, y'all need to get your life right and start tuning in from YouTube or from Facebook or from Twitch, because half the fun of reading is the comment section, okay? Facts don't care about your feelings. Say, I guess I'm right on time. Sound like Mary about to start snatching wigs in just a bit. Lotus Flower say, child, I'm already bald. Anyway, okay, so let's see. Yes, okay, so since such irregular virginal prudence is expressive of wanderlust, It leads prudes astray from the assumed regulations and rules of prickery. By phallic standards, this virgin virtue is assuredly a cardinal vice, and the repeated deviant acts through which it is acquired are sins. A prude can take oh, a prude can take pride in these originally sinful acts. She can recall with interest the teaching of Saint Augustine that self-love leading to the contempt of God is the origin of every sin. Oh my God. Did you hear what I just said? She said she can recall with interest the teaching of Saint Augustine that self-love leading to the contempt of God is the origin of every fucking sin. For indeed, her self-centering lust her self-centering lust extending to the contempt of the phallic God helps her, oh my God, helps her to be virginally prudent, committing originally sinful acts of questioning and challenging the old saws and laws of the lecherous state. Ow! Yo. She said, for indeed her self-centering lust, extending to the contempt of the phallic God, helps her to be virginally prudent, committing originally sinful acts of questioning and challenging the old laws of the lecherous state. Oh. The virtuous vice of pyrometric prudence is wild wisdom that counsels and commands women to perform acts which, by the standards of phallicism, are extreme. Prudes, breaking the laws of lechery, act wisely in ways that may appear rash and outrageous and even raving mad. The pyromantic prudence is the wisdom of the weirds, the sagacity of soothsayers and scolds. It is queen of the immoral virtues and vices, the chief of which are nemesis, courage, and distemper. The prudence of prudes is a volcanic virtue, a volcanic vice, exploding out of the deeply buried cauldrons of women's experiences. Oh my God. As volcanic, it brings the promise of new beginnings that are grounded in buried ancient origins, erupting from the concealed chambers of women's racial memories. It is pyrosophical, bringing renewed knowledge of the nature and properties of furious fire and desire. This knowledge gives form and direction to action. Like a spiral staircase, it shapes, directs movement so that this biophilic spiraling past the foreground fatherland of fixated thoughts and feeling into an other world, a place of unfolding, realizing passion for action, for being. It is essential then that prudes reflect upon this volcanic virgin virtue vice. The procedure here will be to analyze its parts. Baby, y'all up in here? Mary going fucking, okay? Oh my God. Yo. Going in. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. All right. Parts of the pyromantic prudence. In the medieval tradition of theological ethics, moral theology, prudence is said to have 8 quasi-integral parts. That is, elements that are needed for a perfect act of the virtue of prudence. These are memory, understanding, docility, shrewdness, reason, foresight, circumspection, and caution. Prudes can prudently use this analysis as a means of spiraling into comprehension of practical pyrosophy or volcanic virgin prudence. I shall reclaim and rename these parts, then one by one. Let's see, I shall reclaim and rename these parts, then one by one. Memory. Okay, so the 8 parts based on the theological, the way Mary is breaking this down, chef's kiss. I love y'all. Yo, I love y'all. Okay, listen. Okay, so the eight quasi integral parts of understanding the theological ethics of prudence. Our memory, understanding, docility, shrewdness, reason, foresight, circumspection, and caution. And she gonna break them down and rename them one by one. Memory. Traditionally, memory has been considered a necessary part of the virtue of prudence, since the practice of this virtue requires experience, and experience is the result of many memories. Patriarchal prudence, of course, is based upon restored mediated memories that reconstruct women's experiences. Oh, women breaking out of the vices of virile virtue need to call upon and call forth the deep emotional memories of authentic individual and collective experiences which are disregarded and erased by the preachers of patriarchal prudence. Developing the virgin virtues of prudence requires discovering the links among these memories, that is, reweaving women's own context of experiences. The decisions made by prudes on the basis of this uncovered and recreated context will be utterly other than choices made on the basis of paternally programmed foreground memories. Moreover, deep memories, as I have shown, are emotional, moving women's psyches in vast rhythmic movements that connect with the rhythms of the elemental world. Their eruptions are volcanic discoverings that empower prudes to choose and decide our other dimensional ways that are fired with archaic insights of inner knowing. The prudence of prudes is inspired by the muses of gynecological memory. Understanding. So she's going through each one of them, and then she's going to rename them. As part of the virtue of prudence, understanding traditionally means an intuitively right estimate of some particular end. I have pointed out that in classical Christian ethics, there is no basic questioning of patriarchally ordered ends. Thus, there can be no radically defiant patriarchal understanding. However, the understanding implied in volcanic prudence reaches beyond male-ordered ends. It stands under these man-made purposes, giving insight into the ontological telos, the final causality that is hidden behind artificial agendas. That is, it uncovers a woman's own final cause, her own deep purpose that moves her in the process of being. The understanding of prudes stubbornly asked crucial why. Listen. Yo. The understanding of prudes stubbornly asks crucial whys. It is a habit of nags and nagnostics. We squash this shit in children, by the way. You remember how we make it like a weird thing while babies ask why all the time? We're like, just cuz. She said that is a part of our patriarchal programming, is not to question the ends. It is because it is. It is because I say so. It is because I'm the mama. While babies are doing exactly what they are supposed to do as still connected elementally to the one, they always ask why. They always ask why. They want to go deeper. They want to know more. They want to understand why. And we shut that shit down. We cut it off. Don't ask why. Don't ask why. It just is. It is because it is. It is because I say so. Yo. This is a habit of nags and of nagnostics. Such understanding is a constant questioning and questing as well as an answer, and thus it doubly perplexes the patriarchs who predictably label prudes imprudent. The price of prudish understanding, then, is Precocratic persecution. Its reward is the activity itself of agnostic understanding, of gnawing the way through the dictated dead ends that block furies from our purposes. Docility. Docility, of course, is a part of the patriarchal virtue of prudence. The virally virtuous drone is docile in the usually understood sense of tractable and obedient, often lacking in independence, submissive. Given these meanings, the word often has a noxious aroma. However, this word is rooted in the Latin docere or docere, meaning to teach. Thus, the primary unpolluted meaning of docile is simply teachable. While dragonish women understandingly despise the viral docility prescribed by and for drones, proclaiming ourselves ineffably undocile in this sense, we can cultivate and respect deviant docility. Oh my God, y'all. Yo, deviant docility, the ability to be taught by wise women, by ourselves and our experiences, and by anyone who has any truth to teach. This active, selective docility is simply free use of the ability to learn, which is essential for philosophical wisdom. Shrewdness. Shrewdness was understood by Aristotle as a faculty of hitting upon the middle term, connecting link instantaneously. As he explained, quote, "It would be exemplified by a man who saw that the moon has her bright side always turned towards the sun, and quickly grasped the cause of this, namely that she borrows her light from him, or observed somebody in conversation with a man of wealth and divined that he was borrowing money, or that the friendship of these people sprang from a common enmity." End quote. Shrewdness, then, is the ability to guess quickly the connecting links, middle terms, in situations. Shrewds will note, however, that the middle terms that are hit upon by those who possess patriarchal shrewdness are often based upon the prevailing assumptions of the society in which the shrewd person lives. In the hierarchical society in which Aristotle lived and which he favored, the rich and the poor did not mingle casually. Thus, when a person was seen in conversation with a man of wealth, a shrewd observer might be right in assuming that the poor person was borrowing money, or else the two were bonding against a common enemy. Why else, he might, why else, he might ask, would they be talking to each other in this manner? Come on, y'all. Damn. Why else would they be talking to each other in this manner? In a different kind of society, this assessment would not be so shrewd. My point is that the shrewdness of those who possess patriarchal prudence functions accurately within a predictable set of circumstances, those prevailing within one or another of the forms of patriarchal society. However, shrewdness can be most unshrewd by shrewish standards, for shrews, us, for shrews do not function predictably according to any set of phallic assumptions. An example cited by Denise Connors illustrates this point. A group of nurses were sitting together in a restaurant absorbed in their own conversation, when a boorish male who had been overhearing their discussion walked over and began talking to them. He felt free to do this, of course, since women together are perceived as alone. The boor interrupted them with a question which ran something like the following, quote, "So you're nurses, eh? Well, I bet you've seen everything," end quote. Within the context of the boor's eye view, The women could be expected to laugh in a nervous and embarrassed manner. His shrewd assessment of the situation was overturned, however. One of the women immediately replied, "What's to see? Two withered peaches. Let's see. What's to see? Two withered peaches on a dead limb." The boar retreated immediately. The shrew, who responded to him, had swiftly and accurately assessed his intent and expectation, humiliation and manipulation of the women, which was the connecting link in his obviously habitual behavior patterns, as she deftly reversed the situation. Come on. Yes, 1983, baby. She was sticking it to him. Again, shrews know that many employers assume that their female employees will respond to their tactics of harassment in predictable ways. When the harassment is sexual, the expectation is that female employee will respond as women have been socialized to react, that is, with fear and denial. When the tactics are similar to those used against any disadvantaged, deviant, or defiant group, the expectation is that the beleaguered victim will respond in the same cowardly manner in which the oppressors themselves would react to such treatment. Such patriarchal shrewdness fails in the face of volcanic virgin virtue. Moreover, since phallic shrewdness, as part of the patriarchal virtue of prudence, is a habit, bureaucrats predictably continue to repeat their erroneous assessments. To the extent that shrews have exercised the norms of normal behavior from our actions, we escape the grasp of the master's middle terms, and they remain mystified by missing links. Of course, some of the habitual tactics of bureaucratic shrewdness continue to do damage. For example, the tactic of divide and conquer. Shrews can overcome such devices only to the extent that we develop shrewish shrewdness. Shrewdness of the shrews implies seeing different connecting links, middle terms, in assessing our situation, because the emotional, intellectual environment of our thinking is not ruled by the prevailing assumptions or fallacies of the phallocracy. We conjecture in different contexts. Thus, in estimating what risks to take, shrews draw upon deep knowledge of the intent of the patriarchs, knowing that their lust to obstruct the breaking out of female being, to obstruct the breaking out of the female being. It is the depth of this knowledge. It is the depth of this knowledge that radicalizes shrews to an extent that is beyond the capacity of the patriarchal mind to even imagine, and that makes volcanic virtuous action unpredictable to them, whereas Sado behavior remains quite predictable. Yet, ultimately, it is shrewdness concerning prudes, our purposes that matter. Prudes our purposes that matters. Women who have been awakened to the emotional identification with the race of women, who have realized the capacity for moral outrage on behalf of the female elemental being, are not preoccupied with second guessing the foreground rulers and foolers. Rather, prudes are shrewdly focusing fire and desire, fostering the movement of the biophilic race. I'm going to stop there for today because I got to hit the door for my saxophone lesson. So, thank you so much for tuning in. Those of you who joined, those of you who do not know what we're reading, Pure Lust, Elemental Feminist Philosophy by Mary Daly. Pure Lust, Elemental Feminist Philosophy by Mary Daly. So we will pick back up tomorrow. Like I said, it'll come across as a live, but it will not be live. I'm going to pre-record tomorrow's read because we are all, as we should be, we are all going to be in a Zoom workshop. We're going to be in a Zoom book study for this book tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So those of you who reached out via email, which is releaseheartcenter@gmail.com, releaseheartcenter@gmail.com, if you want the link for the book club, because I'm not going to make it mass because I have too many people trying to disrupt and troll. So if you email me, I will send you the link for the Zoom conference. Most of you I've sent it to, but email me, releaseheartcenter@gmail.com. So tomorrow's reading, facts don't care about your feelings. Did you send me an email? Send me an email, facts don't care about your feelings, releaseheartcenter@gmail.com, so I can send you the link for the book club Zoom thing tomorrow. Okay. That's at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. The meeting tonight, if you're interested in participating in the solstice committee, the solstice event committee, the meeting is tonight at 8:30. So as soon as I get back from my saxophone lesson, we're going to be right back on a Zoom conference to discuss. We're gonna get on a Zoom conference tonight to discuss the beginning stages of creating this event for the winter solstice, for the kickoff event for the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. Okay, so I will see you guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, either way. So whether you're tuning in for the reading or whether you're tuning in for the book club, I'll see you guys tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is Cassandra Faye Floyd, also known as the Daughter of the Fates, founder of the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. Y'all have a great night, as I will, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.